What's going on, guys? I'm a regular guy with the Regular Guy Firearms channel. Thanks for watching. Okay, so today we are going over the ACOG. Okay, now this is sort of a blanket review on the fixed 4-power ACOG because there are by now just a million different versions of it, different reticle styles, different mounting options, freaking that can take optics, backup iron sights, or both. But this is on the individual base model, and that would be the TA-31. Now, the TA-31 ACOG is the most widely distributed version of the 4-power fixed ACOG that's out there, and it's all over military circles, from the Marine Corps into the Army into other services as well. So it's everywhere, and it's the most common magnified optic that's slapped on M4s and M16A4s and that type of deal. Now, what I'm going to go over here is the list of advantages that I see, list of cool things about it, and the list of things that I personally see as either disadvantages or annoying things to deal with. Okay, now here's the deal. To me, a huge advantage to the ACOG itself is that, especially for military circles and stuff, this is an optic specifically calibrated for either a 14.5-inch barreled M4 style rifle or a 20-inch barreled M16. There's a lot of different models out there to accommodate specific barrel lengths and the ammunition types that military guys use. So for that purpose, I see that as a big advantage. Obviously, there's a downside, but we'll cover that later. What is really, really good about this optic, and I love this, and I've seen this just proven over and over and over and over again, is that these optics are friggin' tough. They're really tough. You know, you see a lot of them in military circles with just like no finish left on them. They're beat to hell on a constant basis, and even though they go through Joe abuse, which is brutal, I personally believe, because Joe just throws his stuff all over the place. They continue to work. They continue to work well. The turrets in them continue to be accurate. Again, there's a little bit of an issue with that too, but we will cover it. And there's an easy fix for it as well. But the turrets continue to be accurate for it. You get 1/4 minute turret twists and stuff, which, as far as minutes of angle and stuff, I'm just going to be really simple and say a single minute of angle is about 1 inch at 100 yards. But these are very accurate to that. And, man, because they're so friggin' durable, another thing arises from it as well. They're small. It's a small 4-power fixed optic that doesn't hook on everything. You can see that aside of the friggin' red dot that's mounted on this thing, which, no, you won't find that in military circles nearly ever. Unless it's on, like, a Marine Corps M27 or something. But almost the vast majority of ACOGs don't have this on here. So minus this, most of the edges on them are really rounded off. They don't snag on things, and so it's tight, fairly light, and it's just going to keep out of your way most of the time. Okay, now glass clarity is huge because with the 4-power fix, yes, it's supposed to help you see better, because optics don't help you shoot better generally. All they do is help you see better, and if you can see better and then apply your fundamentals, you shoot better. Okay, they're supposed to be more shootable optics, which helps. Okay, now with all of that being said, you know, you have clear glass, you have accurate turret adjustments, the range-finding reticles, regardless of variant, are effective and they're quick, which I like. Okay. And there's a wide variety of them as well, available to the civilian market and everything else. So military usually just gets the chevron reticle, which you'll see now. My favorite reticle is the TA-01 reticle, and that's this one. And there's a more rare reticle, and this one ranges to about 1,000, and you'll see this one. That third reticle is what this one is currently sporting. Now, with all of that being said, and with all those little advantages discussed, the last thing is that it does exactly what it was designed to do very, very well. With that being said, there is no such thing as perfect, okay? Like the old saying, one size fits all is two lies in one, that type of deal. There's no such thing as perfect, and just like everything else, this has its set of drawbacks. The first and foremost thing is that its eye relief is short. It's about 1.5 inches. The shroud on my helmet, my Mitch, is just scarred up from ACOGs, because in order to square up on them and get proper eye relief, okay, I'm about here. So with a hat on, that's fine. With a helmet, I'm hitting the edge of the ACOG constantly with a little night vision shroud that we have on our helmets. Okay. For me, I just let it go, and I'm just kind of like pow, and it just like bobs the helmet just a little bit, and I'm like, all right, that's a good reference, bang. And the problem with that also exists with longer stock guns, like M16A4s and stuff. Dudes end up having to get pretty bladed to get behind those optics, squared up, and all that jazz. So, that is that's the principal complaint that I have about the ACOG, and it's the only real thing that I have a serious, well, not even really a serious problem that I'm annoyed with the ACOG, is that its eye relief is very short. Okay, that is one thing that you are going to have to deal with. The next thing that you're going to have to deal with, and this pertains to ballistic drop compensators, period, but specifically for this one, its BDC is rated for meters, not yards. Okay, now, if you have the capability to set your own target at whatever distance, set it at 110 yards, and use the 100-yard line portion of the crosshair or chevron or whatever not the 100-yard line, but the 100-meter portion of the crosshairs or the chevron or whatever to zero with, and then you're zeroed for 100 meters. There's a little bit of difference there, yes, but you're not seriously off, okay? You know what I mean? Or if you have a laser rangefinder or something like that, well, yeah, go straight to meters on the thing and set it right at 100 meters and get the zero like that. But because, we live in the States and everything else, most people measure everything in yards and miles and stuff like that. We're on the inch system in the States, so that is a little bit of an issue, especially with range limitations, and that is something to be considered if you're thinking about picking up an ACOG. Okay, you're going to have to do a little bit of converting, and you may have to find another place that could let you zero it properly, because if you're basically converting things from yards to meters, you're going to be putting it on what's probably a weird space on that range. Now, if you have that capability, great. If not, it's something to consider. Okay, now another thing, and I said I'd get back to this, these turrets, while they are accurate, they're not always cooperative, and this is something I've seen on older ACOGs and stuff like that, is that with these individual turrets, sometimes they won't want to move when you're making adjustments on them. Okay, and just as an example here, I've been issued an ACOG more than once. I've been issued an ACOG a lot, actually. You'll go and try to twist this turret left or right or up or down or whatever, and after you got finished making your adjustments, like your 1, 2, 3, or 4, a lot of guys will go back on the rifle and start shooting, and the adjustment will not have been made, and you're like, what the hell? So you keep cranking that same number, and you'll come back, and yet again, it's not moving. What the hell? And then finally, you'll make that third set of adjustments. And a lot of guys will overshoot the original set of adjustments that they were making before, and then suddenly, it's all of those adjustments at once. The issue with age that the ACOG has is that it moves itself via a little system of prisms. And unless you make sure that the prisms move, they won't. And then it'll just make this giant jump after a while. So the way to avoid that, and this is, again, is just from the amount of time I've spent around ACOGs and everything else, and the experience of guys telling me, basically what I was doing wrong, because that story I just told you about the adjustments, that was me. That was the first thing that I dealt with, and it was actually my first experience on an ACOG, and I figured, wow, this thing's a piece of crap, until I figured out how to make sure that the little prisms work. And a good way to do it is, as you're making your adjustments, all you'd have to really do is just knock on the turret itself, kind of like you're knocking on a door. And let's say that you have to come over 4 right? So you'll make those 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a good way to make sure that the prisms move is to go over 5, and then crank back down so that it's at 4. And then tap on it again. It's to make sure that the prisms move. With that little methodology, I've never had a single problem adjusting one of these, horribly beat to shit military optic or not. Okay, so all it is just a little bit of tapping, really, to make sure that it works. Now, if it's a civilian bought optic and it's not being beat to absolute crap, you probably won't have that issue. But it's just a practice that I do whether or not it's a new optic. So, it is what it is. With all of that being said, though, you have your short eye relief, you have your possible issues with your turrets and whatnot, and the fix for it. Another thing that I see as kind of an issue, and this is more in the States than anything else, is that because this is rated for a specific barrel length, a specific rifle type, a specific rifle ammunition, look into your owner's manual, and you'll see, for your model type, you'll see what it's rated for. And what's kind of crazy is that if you look into the optic and then look straight down into the 6 o'clock shadow, like the scope shadow, you'll see exactly what it's rated for. Some are a little more forgiving than others. Okay, this specific TA-31 with its 1,000-yard ranging reticle, you'll look into the 6 o'clock scope shadow and it says 5.56 millimeter. Okay, and you'll actually see towards the very bottom of the crosshairs, you'll see M4, and that'll be from 1 to, what does it say? 600 meters. And then and I actually haven't noticed this until just now, and it says M249, 700 to 1,000 meters. Okay, so this is actually a dual purpose optic. I was kind of wondering why it had the rest of the tree in there. But for the TA-01, it'll say M4A1 at the bottom. For other ones, it'll say M4 or M16A4. You can actually see it in the 6 o'clock shadow of the optic. Because of that fact, though, because it's rated for those individual things, there's no real versatility on it unless you're sticking it on an equal barrel length 5.56 rifle. Okay? And there is a little bit of variance as far as where you hold exactly on the tree, depending on different ammunition types. Okay, because generally speaking, I run Wolf ammo because the stuff is just cheaper. I end up having to hold just a little bit higher than the reticle recommends, because it's lower powered ammo than M855 or XM193. Okay, so depending on what you end up using, the reticle isn't going to be 100% exact. Now, that could be an issue for some, and it's just a non-issue for others, but it is something to consider because versatility is fairly limited. You're not sticking this on, any 7.62x39 rifle and expecting it to be accurate. You might get away with some stuff with 5.45x39, but that's the point, really, is that it's not super, super versatile because it's made for a specific rifle. Okay. So really, its biggest disadvantages are that, okay, there's some versatility issues. You might have some turret issues that, yes, you can fix. And the biggest one is the short eye relief thing. The short eye relief thing bugs me, mainly because, not just because of the helmet thing, but in weird positions. I've been forced to extend my stock before. Or if I'm just trying to get a shot off real quick, I'd have to be forced into this really tight, weird position that I'm just not game for. You know what I mean? In most cases. And if not, you're getting scope bit. Okay. And I've been scope bit by ACOGs and other rifle scopes and stuff before, particularly when night shooting, because when I was newer to this, I fell into the trap that everybody falls into, is that when it's darker, you just get sucked into the optic and you just get bit, you know. And newcomers to this rifle scope may indeed get scope bit by an ACOG simply because of that short eye relief, and they just want to get a really clear view. But, you know, all that being said, it's a purpose-built optic that does its purpose very, very, very well. And I really do like the ACOG simply because they're fast, the glass is clear, and honestly, as far as adjustments and stuff that you can make on them, they're real accurate. But, you know, that's my take on the ACOG and stuff. I'm sure that there's going to be polar opposite opinions here and there, but let me know what you think in the comments section below. But all that being said, guys, a regular guy's firearm is the last defense against tyranny. Be easy. I love shooting this thing, so I'm going to keep shooting it some more. Thanks for watching, guys.